Federal, state, and local leaders all met in Oakland earlier today to talk about the recent increase in violence in the city. Representative Barbara Lee and State Senator Alex Padilla took part in this roundtable discussion. Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf and community leaders expressed their frustration about a spike in homicides and other violent crimes, and now they're calling on the federal government to step in.
The federal government needs to bring the COPS grants back to Oakland to help us with our police staffing, our investigations. Need to declare a health emergency so that we can use health funding to do the deep violence prevention and intervention work that we know is needed, particularly as we are seeing more and more young people not only be the victims of crime, but be the perpetrators of crime.
Other topics discussed at the meeting include addressing the root causes of violence, increasing educational outreach, and more funding for grassroots programs that help at-risk youth.
Oakland Congresswoman Barbara Lee joins us now live tonight to talk more about this roundtable discussion. Congresswoman, thank you for being here. How can the federal government help, and what kind of resources can it in fact provide?
Sure. Well, thank you very much for having me this evening. First of all, let me just say my condolences go out once again to the loved ones of those killed through this horrific gun violence, and also praying for those who have been injured and for a speedy recovery. This is a public health emergency. We have designated through the Centers for Disease Control that gun violence is a public health emergency. And with that, we need to make sure we act accordingly. So this meeting was a very thoughtful, but very authentic, very informative, and very passionate about what we need to do at the federal level to support local efforts. For example, violence interrupters. I'm on the Appropriations Committee, and we funded, $250,000, $500,000 this last year for violent interrupters through Youth Alive and other programs. But having said that, we need to bring federal resources to bring these programs to scale so that we can stop this violence. And the federal government has a major role. You heard our mayor talk about what she thinks needs to happen, and everyone in the meeting talked about the state of emergency we're in. And so Senator Padilla was with me, and I want to thank him for being with us, because we know just in terms of what happens in the Senate, we can't separate this out from the politics of what we're doing in our gun safety legislation and getting these weapons off of the streets of Oakland and throughout the country. We passed an assault weapon ban twice. It's stuck in the Senate. So this is multi-pronged, but we have to pitch in, unify, and fight with all our efforts and all of the tools that we have to stop this violence. And the federal government has a role to support local efforts, especially grassroots efforts that really can be part of the ceasefire initiative.
And Congresswoman, what more can be done from the federal level to try to limit the number of guns that are on the streets of cities across the country? But we're talking about Oakland here. What more can be done at the federal level to make sure guns are not in the hands of people who should not have them?
Well, you have gun trafficking. It's an enormous problem. We've heard that over and over from our police force. And what we need to do at the federal level is get the assault weapons ban passed, signed into law, get all of these gun safety measures passed through the Senate so the president can sign them, because California has some of the strongest, strongest and most effective gun laws in the country. But they lose their effectiveness, though, when in fact people can transport guns from other states that don't have gun laws like California does. So we have to have national standards. We have to have closing the loophole. Right now, you can buy a gun after 3 days of background check. Well, 78,000 people have died because of guns getting into the wrong hands of people. We need a 10-day waiting period after someone purchases a gun. So there are many gun safety legislation bills that we have passed through the House that we're waiting for the Senate to move on. So the federal government has a major role in gun trafficking and making sure gun tracing. I've been working on eliminating the time limits for gun tracing, which is about 24 hours. So there are many pieces of this that need to be addressed at the federal level. But in the meantime, we have to have short-term solutions, and that is making sure that our community groups and our grassroots organizations are funded, because they are the trusted messages. They know how to stop this, and we need to make sure they get the money to do that. And finally, I'll just say it's not just about guns. That's a major piece of it. But it's about the quality of life. It's about education. It's about mental health services. It's about food. Someone mentioned the fact that people are hungry. We know that. So we have to make sure that people have health care, mental health care, schools, jobs, so the root causes have not been addressed, not only here, but throughout the country. And that's because we haven't had priorities at the national level that require resources to come to our local and county governments to say, hey, these are our priorities. Let's enhance the quality of life for young people that they so deserve.
All right, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.